Welcome everybody to tonight's Meet ASEA call. My name is Karen Riley. We are going to get this call kicked off in just a couple of moments. I am excited that you would join us tonight to learn more about the ASEA mission, vision, and values. We are live on Facebook tonight. And so if you are joining us on Facebook, go ahead and drop a comment. Let us know where you are watching from and tell us how excited you are to be here tonight. Drop a comment, add, tag, and message somebody so they're going to join us as well. But sit back and relax, and we're going to get started in just a moment. Tonight is all about meeting the ASEA team, this incredible campaign that kicked off last night with our founder, Tyler Norton, and we maxed out the lines. And I have a feeling that we are going to do that again tonight. The lines are filling up fast. I'm sure we're going to be maxing it out any moment now. Want to make sure that if you are watching us tonight via Zoom or you are watching us via Facebook, go ahead and drop us a note. Let us know where you are watching from. Let us know if this is your first time learning more about ASEA. Let us know if you're already an associate with us, you're already taking our products. Tell us a little bit about what you have been experiencing about meeting ASEA and all of the incredible people that are associated with this great company. I feel like we've got our tech issues worked out. We had some issues last night, but it should be working just fine tonight. So we are going to go ahead and get started because we have an incredible lineup for you tonight. I want to let you know that if this is your first time with us tonight, we're so glad that you took some time out of your evening to join us. And if you are a recurring ASEA family member, you've been with us before, welcome back. My name is Karen Riley, and I am the Vice President of North America for ASEA. I have been with this incredible organization for 10 years, and they have been the most fulfilling, most professionally rewarding, both personally rewarding years of my life and the life of my family and those that are in my circle of influence. Tonight is part 2 of a 5-part series that we are bringing to you live every night this week. What you're looking at right now is the schedule of events for this Meet ASEA Blitz Week. Last night, we shared some time with our founder, Tyler Norton, as he shared how this company came to be what it is today. Tonight, we're going to be hearing from our CEO, Charles Funke. You can call him Chuck, however, and he's going to be sharing the mission, vision, and values of ASEA. Tomorrow night, we have another incredible call set up for you with our president, Jerem Webb, and he's going to be talking about ASEA as a legacy company. Now, I will go ahead and let you know that he has a very special release tomorrow. You're going to see it for the very first time. He's going to be introducing something brand new for all of you that will help share the story of ASEA, the legacy company. And then on Friday, we have a very special hour prepared for you with some of ASEA's top leaders, not just in income, but from influence, from experience, from the standpoint of being true ambassadors of what this company represents. So I'm going to be interviewing several of those folks on Friday night. And then on Saturday, we have another very special treat for you. Now, Saturday, the time is different. Tuesday through Friday, all of these calls are taking place at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. But on Saturday, you're going to be able to hear from Tyler as he shares the ASEA ethos. And that's going to be at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. You can watch all of these calls live by joining us at ASEAInTouch.com, or you can jump over to the North America ASEA Facebook page and watch it live there as well. Hey, Chuck, you got a little tickle in your throat there, friend? So I'm so excited to be hosting this call with you tonight. Thanks again for joining us. I want to start by sharing just very quickly, you know, this has been an opportunity for us at the corporate office to bring you ASEA into your living rooms. And when you think about the word corporate, we're going to have a little English lesson here. When you think about the word corporate, it comes from the Latin word of corpus, meaning body. And we believe that every body, of course, has a soul, and that soul is guiding us on this incredible journey, helping us make the decisions that are going to have a result. And tonight is all about what those decisions mean, how that result is impacted by the decisions that we make. And the mission, vision, and values of ASEA is the most beautiful roadmap that clearly identifies why we exist, what our purpose is, how we're going to get there, and what we strive to do every single day. And so I'm so grateful that our CEO would be joining us tonight. Let me tell you a little bit about him. You know, I think that as this call concludes tonight, you're going to feel what we know here at the office, which is it's no wonder that this company has been listed for 5 consecutive years as one of Utah's best places to work. We've been awarded this from the Utah Business Magazine Association. And when you think about what's happened over the last year, when you think about the fact that of the global 500 fastest growing network marketing companies around, ASEA is in the top 10 of that list. When you look at the Direct Selling News Association and you look at their top global 100 list of network marketing companies, it's no surprise that ASEA is climbing that list rapidly every single year. So what sets us apart? Well, you have to know the foundation is where it all starts. And so let me tell you a little bit about Chuck. Now, for those of you who were with us on Monday for our very first 10FX call, which is 10 minutes with a founder or an executive, you might know that we had some challenges with some audio, we had some challenges with some video, but you also would know that Chuck's real personality is on display on Monday. But you know, I want you to know that we have taken care of all of that for you. What you'll notice tonight, besides his bright, beautiful, very white smile, is Chuck knows where to look at the camera. We've got his lighting figured out. We've got his audio figured out. Chuck took a crash course in our webinar tonight, and I'm just so delighted with his progress. So, you know, Chuck is one of the most approachable CEOs that I have ever met. I have been 20 plus years in corporate positions for network marketing. And, you know, he leads this team with absolute confidence. I'm reminded of something that Vertus used to say, which was, you know, I'm seldom right, but I'm never in doubt. And that is the confidence of leadership. You know, it's a big person who can hold this ship together when the seas get rough. I'm so grateful that Chuck has been with the organization now for, I think, almost 8 years, or just over 8 years. You know, he has held positions like president, chairman, CEO for Fortune 100 companies. You know, Chuck's about as solid as they come. There's no one better to lead this organization through this unprecedented time than our CEO, Chuck Funke. You know, tonight, as part 2 of this ASEA Blitz as the Meet ASEA Blitz week comes together, it's all about the ASEA mission, vision, and values. It's the why we exist. It's the what we are doing and what our goals are. It's about how we keep each other accountable to make sure that this company is protected for generations to come. It's about what continues to make ASEA the safest place for you to fail your way to success. And that's the most beautiful sentiment that I can share with you tonight. And I hope that by the time this presentation is over, that you'll have a deeper understanding of what sets this organization apart, because it absolutely always comes down to the people. So Chuck, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I'm gonna stop my screen share so that you can pop your slides up here. Hey, welcome, Chuck.
Is this thing working, Karen? I don't think anybody can hear me.
Hey, Chuck, I can see you. I can hear you just great. Yeah, it looks awesome. Now, I warned everybody that you know, one of the best pieces of advice you ever gave me, Chuck, was crest white strips.
Yeah.
I have boxes and boxes of them because you have the brightest, most beautiful smile. But it does absolutely make you so approachable. You know, I'm reminded of one of the things that if you ever wanted an excuse to come up and talk to the CEO, like Chuck, just ask him for like Visine or Band-Aids or maybe like a splint or protein shake, because Chuck, I don't know anybody who's so prepared. You've got the best man purse I've ever seen.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome, Chuck.
I will tell you that when we logged on for this ahead of time, a few minutes ahead of time to make sure everything was working and that I knew where to look at the camera. She said, "Are you going to wear those glasses?" And I said, "Well, Karen, I can't see without them. So yeah, I don't really have an option. I was up all night last night and my eyes were dried out, so I couldn't wear my contacts. So yeah, Karen, I'm sorry, I have to wear my glasses."
I'll wear my glasses too.
She tried to walk it back because when I said, "Why do you ask?" And she said, "Oh, no reason." I said, "Well, you weren't asking for no reason at all." So Karen, thanks.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks for bringing up the unmitigated disaster of Monday morning. I appreciate that as well. So
you're welcome.
yeah. I would say, Karen, out of all the introductions I've ever had, that one was the most recent. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Are we good to go?
We are good to go. Go ahead and share your screen and we are ready to rock and roll.
Hey guys, welcome. Thanks for taking some time. And Karen, genuinely thank you in all seriousness for setting up these calls and the opportunity to reach out. I think everyone has some sense of disconnect given the current climate, and we could spend all night talking about that and the impact that that's had on people's lives and really the unknowns about that going into the future and how that's going to impact our futures. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world, and we certainly acknowledge that and are grateful that you would take some time to spend with us as a company tonight and really as a family. Those of you who may be joining us for the first time, I know most companies, that's a cliche, it's like family, but it's really something you have to experience in order to appreciate. And I'll talk a little bit more about just kind of what's happening in the world and what we're doing at ASEA relative to that. But I certainly don't want to discount what's occurring, and certainly probably the defining event of our generation, certainly mine. And what's interesting about it is that it's global in scope. A lot of times you'll have a situation or a natural disaster or some tragedy that will occur in some part of the world, and it's largely away from us and we're isolated from it. This is something that the world is experiencing simultaneously, and as a global company, that's something that we know is impacting a large majority of our ASEA family. So again, I know there's other things you could be doing, like watching Tiger King or something like that. So we appreciate you taking some time to spend it with us. I'd like to start by sharing something with you that for the majority of you on this call are going to be like, duh, like, of course. But there's a few of you on this call that this is going to be one of the most revelatory experiences that you've ever had in your life. And if you don't take anything else away from tonight, just what I'm going to show you here in just a second, you'll remember for the rest of your life. And most of you already are going to say, yeah, of course, that's obvious. But some of you, it's going to be life-changing. And the way this came up was a number of years ago. I was in a rental car as a passenger.
Hey, Chuck,
yeah.
I hate to interrupt, but we're looking at the presentation slide deck, not just the title screen, FYI. So we're seeing slide number 1 and slide number 2.
Oh, you are really?
We didn't cover this in our tutorial earlier today, so that's my bad.
Yeah, okay. So you're seeing that?
Yeah, so you want to do, and you want to end your slideshow and then go back and share it again, and then go ahead and click on the slide for PowerPoint presentation, not share screen. Nope.
That one?
Nope. We're looking at
let's try it again. Okay, so Karen, you tell me which slide to click on.
Click share. Click share screen.
Yeah, I thought he did that. Okay, yeah.
Yep, and then when the window pops up, you're going to click PowerPoint presentation, not the actual screen.
Ah, got it. Like this one?
Perfect! It's brilliant!
Did that work?
He's a fast study, folks.
Tell you what, Zoom wasn't part of our nomenclature before. It certainly is now. See, and what happens is I sit
and now
here
the lights just went off in the office.
The lights went off on us. So this is, by the way, don't think in the least that this rattles me in any sense, because this is a typical day for me here at the office. So this is actually going quite well. So,
Well, at least everybody knows that we are energy efficient, because if you don't move around in your office, we assume that you're sleeping under your desk. We just turn the lights off and we turn some music on.
that's right. So given that now that you've already seen what I'm going to show you in that dramatic buildup, the reason this I wanted to share this, and it's actually has a tie into what I wanted to share tonight, is I was in a rental car a number of years ago with an individual that some of you all know, and we had to get gas. And this person kind of nonchalantly said, "Oh, which side is the gas cap on?" I said, "Well, just look at the arrow." And they said, "What?" I said, "Look at the arrow." They said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Look down at the gas gauge and look at the arrow." And they did, and they said, "Well, what are you saying?" I said, "The arrow points you the direction of the side of the car that your gas cap is on." Now, some of you maybe have known that for your entire life. But for those of you who haven't, I took just a couple of pictures of different cars, and if you'll look right there at the down by the gas gauge, there's a little gasoline pump. And next to that pump is an arrow. And that arrow is telling you what side of the car your gas cap's on. So if you're ever in a car that's unfamiliar to you, or you forget which side, or you're in a rental car, you can always look down at the arrow and it will tell you which side you need to go to, where you need to go. Now, again, for most of you, you're like, yeah, duh. But for some of you, you didn't know that. And now every time you get in a car, you're going to look down and you're going to see that arrow pointing the direction that you're supposed to go. So if you don't take anything else away from anything that I say tonight, you'll at least maybe had a revelatory experience with respect to what side of the car you should put your gas in. Now, I've actually had this conversation with a number of people, and have been astonished that a lot of people didn't know that, and equally astonished at how many people don't know that. So in an honest moment, some of you now can go out and look in your car and actually see which way your arrow points. So with that is probably one of the most bizarre introductions into a serious conversation about who we are as an enterprise and who we are as a company. What Karen asked me to spend some time talking to you about is where's the arrow of ASEA? Where is it pointing? What leads us? What guides us? What is the thing that is the guiding principles that we consider and look through the lens of? A number of years ago, we sat down and said, let's put on a single piece of paper what ASEA represents. And what I'm going to talk to you tonight about is what that actually looks like. And I'm going to break it up into three different pieces, and it's mission, vision, and values. And we'll start with our mission statement. And mission statements became popular a couple of decades ago. A person by the name of Stephen Covey kind of put these on the map, and everybody was writing mission statements. Universities, families, individuals can all have mission statements. And a mission statement is really nothing more than, as you see there, a written declaration of an organization's core purpose. And its focus remains unchanged over time. And it really represents the broadest perspective of why we exist. It's often referred to as the noble purpose, or why do we exist statement. And I'd like to share with you, and I know many of you on this call have seen this before many times, but for those of you who haven't, when I share with you what the mission, our noble purpose, or our reason for existing as an organization, it's going to seem overly simplistic, but I will promise you that it is deeply profound in a number of ways. And we'll have a discussion about that. But the mission of ASEA, our noble purpose and why we exist, is simply to better people's lives and to be a force for good in the world. And again, you look at that and you say, yeah, that seems to some degree generic and trivial. but I'd like to put it into context as to how that actually happens. Because our mission is actually fulfilled through another aspect of who we are as a company. So keep that in your memory, that our mission is simply better people's lives, be a force for good in the world. And you say, yeah, okay, that's what any company would say. But the way we actually do that is tied to some very distinct things, and that is encompassed in our vision statement. And a vision statement is an aspirational description of what an organization would like to achieve or accomplish in the midterm or long-term future. So a vision statement is visionary by definition, meaning it's forward-looking. We haven't arrived there yet. It's what we get up every day and strive to achieve. And it's interesting, the marriage of ASEA's vision and the completion or fulfillment of the mission, because they're intricately woven together and one really can't exist without the other. So let me share with you what the vision of ASEA is. Our vision as an organization is to become the recognized global leader in cellular health and redox-based technologies. I think Tyler talked to you a little bit last night about our vision for redox and where we're headed as an organization, and really building our base upon this concept of redox, which has, as you know, from a product standpoint, has changed a number of people's lives. So the first part of the vision is to become, meaning that we're still working to do this. We're not done, we haven't achieved it entirely. There's another aspect of the vision, which is to achieve worldwide distribution, meaning that we foundationally and fundamentally believe that the world needs what we have to offer. And we offer three distinct things. We often use the term, we distribute three distinct things. And the first one is going to be obvious, because we distribute a product. And that product is life-changing for many people. We also distribute a financial opportunity, an ability to start a business, to earn an income, if that's what your intent is or what your desire is. So we distribute that financial opportunity. And the last thing that we distribute is we distribute a culture. And one of the reasons that we spend so much time talking about culture is because we truly believe that it is foundational and fundamental to our success as an organization. We also know that as companies get bigger, as they grow, as they become more diverse, that you can lose your cultural identity very easily. And so if you don't make a conscious effort to maintain your culture, it will erode simply over time. So that's one of the reasons, for those of you who have been with ASEA for a longer period of time, that's one of the reasons why culture is foundational to everything we do. These gatherings like we're doing right now are culturally oriented. Now, as I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of ASEA associates around the world, different backgrounds, different experiences, I'm always interested in asking them a question, and that question is, tell me why you came to ASEA. What led us to this place to where we were meeting maybe in some foreign land or on an incentive trip? And it's always fascinating to hear people's reasons for joining ASEA. But what's also fascinating is that they all tie back to one of those three things that we distribute as an organization. People come to ASEA either because they themselves or someone they know or love has had a significant experience with the product. Other people come because they see a financial opportunity. And other people come, believe it or not, because of the culture. And it's always interesting, sometimes when I'm in it with a large group of associates and we're in a more formal setting, I'll ask the question, how many of you came to ASEA because of the product? And a lot of people raise their hand. You ask how many of you came because of the financial opportunity, others' hands will go up. And you ask culture, and more hands will go up. So while people all come for different reasons, what ends up happening is that we stay because of all three. I've known distributors who could not have cared less about our product, but they saw a financial opportunity. But it is impossible to be engaged at ASEA and not see the impact that the product has on people. And so they become, if you will, born and become impossible not to see the impact the product has, though they may not have any interest in what the product was. The product is foundational to our success, and we know that our success going forward is founded upon the strength of our product. And so if you look at that then and you turn that another way, if you think back to what our mission is, our mission is to better people's lives and to be a force for good in the world. Okay, you say, yeah, that's a clever statement, but then you say, how? How do we actually do that? And then the other question that you could ask a group of associates or a gathering together is to say, ask a different question, which is, how many of your life has been bettered by the ASEA products? And a number of hands will go up. And then you ask the question, how many of your lives have been benefited or impacted positively because of the financial opportunity? And a number of hands will go up. And then you ask, how many of you have been positively impacted because of the culture that you feel here at ASEA? And a number of hands will go up. And that is how we actually fulfill and live our mission of bettering people's lives and being a force for good in the world. We do it through the power of our product. We do it through the power of the financial opportunity for those who are interested in that aspect of it. And we do it by our culture. And when you combine the mission and the vision, that's what we represent. There's another aspect of this that all of us have, whether you know it or not, and that is a value set. And when we sat down, we really wanted to try to capture on a single piece of paper what ASEA actually represents. And the mission is the foundational aspect of that. The vision is the actual action part. You'll notice there's words in our vision like become, achieve. It's action oriented. The way that we better people's lives is by fulfilling our vision. The guiding values or principles, if you will, are what are known as core values. And I mentioned that we all have values, whether we know it or not. There are certain things that we value. We maybe haven't taken the time to think about them or articulate them, but we wanted to take the time to actually sit down, and this was a number of years ago, and really define what are the core values, or in other words, what are the guiding principles that dictate behavior and action. Core values are what guide an organization's internal conduct as well as its relationship with the external world. It's what motivates us. It is what drives decision-making processes. And if you look at why they matter because they guide, as I mentioned, all of our business processes. They help clarify our identity. It's just as important for us to know what we're not as it is for us to know what we are. And it articulates what we stand for and helps explain why we do business the way we do. And then it should, if we do it right, it should underpin the entire organization, meaning that you can't try to live a set of values in one part of the organization and not in another part of the organization. So there are 7 of them. They represent, again, the guiding principles that we try to use to dictate our behavior and actions as an organization. And I'd like to share those with you right now. And the first one is humanity. Humanity is our first core value. And what we mean by humanity is that people matter, regardless of what they can do for us or what role they play. Fundamentally, people have value not based on their rank, not based on the kind of house they live in, not based on anything other than the fact that they are people and people matter. And I truly believe that the best way to judge the character of a human being is to watch the way they treat people who can't do anything for them. It's very easy to be nice and accommodating and pleasant to people who we feel can do something for us in return. It's quite another thing to be kind and respectful to somebody who does not have the ability or the power or the opportunity to do anything for us. One of the ways that our humanity is manifest as an organization is through, and I'm going to deviate off of the core values for just a moment to share an example of humanity, and then I'll come back to the remaining core values, is through the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation. For those of you who may not be familiar with the foundation, this is the charitable arm of the company. It's a 501c3 charitable organization. It is funded by the generosity of our associates, of our employees, and then those contributions are matched dollar for dollar by the company. I will tell you that we have a very, very generous associate base who gives freely of their not only their time and through expeditions and other things, but very generous in terms of their financial contributions. We are in a fortunate position as a company that, even given the recent circumstances that we find ourselves in, it's interesting, and it's a bit daunting to really have conversations about this, given the impact that this pandemic has had on society at large. And we here in Utah, by and large, have not had many of the restrictions on us that many other places have had, which has been fortunate to allow us to keep our operations running and manufacturing going. But we're in a very interesting place in that the company is actually doing very well, and it's awkward to talk about that. And I'll give you an example, is that the company just finished, you all, we just had, and when I say us, I say that because we should all think of this as our company. This is just as much your company as it is anybody else's. And we should treat it that way. But the company collectively, it just had its largest first quarter in company history. And it's really an afterthought. It's really not something that's even really been talked about because there's so many other important things that we should be thinking about and dealing with. I heard an interesting quote by a gentleman by the name of Dave Hollis. I don't know much about him, but he made an interesting observation. He said, in the rush to return to normal, use this time to consider which parts of normal are worth rushing back to. And right now, our concern is much more with the health and well-being of all the people who call ASEA home, whether that's the associates, employees, anybody. But we find ourselves in this unique position that we are doing well. I know Tyler talked about this last night as a company. And one of the ways that we express our humanity is through the foundation. It's because of the generosity of you on this call that we have been able to make direct donations to organizations that have been in Northern Italy, who have built remote hospitals in New York City. Organizations like Doctors Without Borders, we've made contributions to that organization as a number of doctors have gone to some of the hardest hit areas around the world. One of the things that we're watching and noticing, and you've probably started to see this getting more and more attention in the media, is that the food banks, particularly here in the US, are completely overwhelmed. There's reports and actual knowledge of people who have waited up to 5 to 8 hours in their vehicles and lines to go to food banks. And they just simply cannot keep up with the demand. When you look at, approximately 20 million people who have lost their jobs in the last really less than a month, it's quite sobering. And so one of the things that the foundation is doing is has committed to ongoing contributions to an organization that actually stocks and provides for hundreds of of food pantries and food banks around the United States. And this is something that, again, is made possible because of the humanity and the generosity of the people in this company. And so that is another example of how we are bettering people's lives and being a force for good in the world. The foundation itself actually has a different mission, not different, but it's expressed differently, and it's to eliminate, break the cycles of poverty, abuse, and suffering. And there's a lot of people right now that are suffering, and we have a unique position to offer people hope in a world right now that a lot of people are very uncertain about. And I don't mean that to be over dramatic. I'm a pragmatist. I know that we will get through this. I know that we'll come out of it. There's going to be changes. We don't really know how this is going to impact our societal interactions going forward, but we'll get through it. There will be a return to some degree of normal. That I know. The financial markets will rebound, and we'll be through this. The key is that we keep our humanity throughout these challenging times. It's easy to be upbeat and optimistic when everything is going well, but the true test of our natures and our character and certainly our leadership comes when things are falling apart around us, and we're actually able to be a strength to other people. If you're feeling isolated or depressed or uncertain right now, the best thing you can do is to find a way to help somebody else. And that's sometimes hard to do if you're having to be isolated or in a situation where you can't maneuver, but you certainly have tools at your disposal that you can actually go out and help other people. I'm coming back now to the core values, and the next one is authenticity. We become stronger as a company through genuine, clear, honest interaction. We strive to be open, transparent, and real. We are all just real people trying to do the best we can. We've been gifted an enormous opportunity and privilege, I believe, to be associated with this company. And as you could certainly see by Karen's introduction and our ability to talk to each other as people, that's part of authenticity. And sometimes when you're authentic, people see the imperfections, and we're all imperfect, but we're striving, as it says there, we're striving to be open, transparent, and real. And by the way, I'm not proclaiming in any sense that we are perfect in any of these things. We're far from it. You will notice that one of our core values is not technical capability. So don't be looking for that as witnessed on this call. But we're just, everybody, you meet any leader, any of our highest ranking leaders in the field, they are genuine, honest people. They're good people. And that is something that I truly believe has attracted probably more seasoned network marketers who have had runs at other places where that maybe wasn't always the case. This is one that is probably as relevant right now as it ever will be, and it is sustainability is a core value. And what we mean by that is, as I said, we've been gifted an enormous opportunity, and it's our responsibility to continue to build on it and to ensure growth and stability for years to come. You've maybe heard that this is our 10-year anniversary. The coronavirus has put somewhat of a damper on that. As I've mentioned, there are more important things than celebrating 10 years. But the trick isn't to get to 10 years. The trick is to get to 20 years and to 30 years and to 40 years. And that's what sustainability is. We are in a position right now that, again, is very healthy as an organization, given the circumstances around us. And that speaks to this core value. We have to make sure that this business, this product, this financial opportunity, and this culture exists long beyond any of us. After we're long gone from this organization or this earth, this organization, this company, this body should continue to live on. We are performance is another core value. Sometimes people think that humanity and performance are at odds with one another. And they're actually not. They're actually very closely correlated. As an organization, we have to be focused on results and hold ourselves accountable to the daily purposeful fulfillment of our mission and vision. A more crass way to say that is we can't do any good for anybody if we go out of business. And so we have to be a performance-driven organization. We have to make difficult decisions from time to time. The key is that you can do the right thing the wrong way. And we always want to try to do the right thing the right way. And always marry humanity with performance. I firmly believe that as individuals, we should be tough on issues but soft on people. But we have to perform. Again, we would not be able to do any good for anyone if we're not around in order or have the financial wherewithal to do that. So performance is critical to our ongoing sustainability and to our ability to continue to do good and better people's lives. Next is growth, and this is not necessarily, usually when somebody would see this in a business setting, they immediately go towards, well, that's the growth of the company, right? That's growth in revenue, that's growth in profit. That's not actually what we mean. You know, that's is a component, but what we actually are talking about is growth of people. We have to grow the company, as I indicated before with performance, but that's a given that we have to grow the company, but we have to grow each individual associated with it. And we do care about personal, professional, and financial development, and we always are looking for opportunities for people to grow. We would certainly hope that every interaction that you have with ASEA, you come away with something. And for some of you tonight, that's just going to be the arrow on your dash that tells you what side your gas cap is on. But we always look for opportunities to have people be better because of their association with the company. And so that's what we mean when we talk about growth. Yes, we have to grow the company, but we also have to grow people along with it. This one, I would say, this core value, resolve, is probably the one that is most critical right now, not only for us collectively as an organization, but also individually. And it's resolve. And I think many people's resolve is being tested right now in ways that they never would have conceived of. And what we mean by this is that we recognize the complexities and challenges of a global business and confront those challenges head on. We're committed to solving difficult issues, even when this requires making hard decisions. And making hard decisions is sometimes one of the most difficult aspects of what we do, of what you do. But we can't be naive to the fact that the world is unforgiving, that we will be placed and confronted with situations today that we didn't even know existed yesterday, and we'll be confronted with challenges tomorrow that we didn't know anything about today. And the sooner I think that we develop a mindset and a psyche that there's going to be complexities and there are going to be challenges, and that's that becomes part of the drive to move forward. A number of years ago, I candidly was, long before I came to ASEA, was just simply overwhelmed just at the fact that I just didn't seem like I could keep up with all the demands that I was dealing with at the time, and probably feeling a bit sorry for myself. And it's when I had a realization that life is never going to be perfect, and that I'm always going to be behind. And I'm always going to feel like there's a phone call I should be making or somebody that I should be reaching out to. There's not a day that goes by that I ever go home feeling like I got ahead of it that day. But the key is that you just don't quit, and you do the best you can. And sometimes we are dealt hands that we never would have foreseen in our lives, but they exist nonetheless. So that is a situation that a lot of people find themselves in right now. Our resolve is being tested as a society, as a global community, which is unique in and of itself. But resolve will see us through. And we as human beings, we like things to fit in nice, tidy little boxes. So the light's going out on me right now, you know, it's not the end of the world. I got to move down there, so his emotion will go off just a second. And finally, the final core value I'd like to share with you is just collaboration. And what we mean by that is, as a company, as a body, we seek to leverage expertise from all areas of the organization. Our greatest success comes when we combine our strengths to solve issues and achieve objectives together. And that could not be truer of many of the individuals who are on this call. Our success is ultimately tied to what you do. As great as this product is that we have, as great as this technology is, as great as our financial opportunity is, as remarkable a culture we have, it doesn't share itself. And we know that by collaboration, working together, and by the way, which doesn't always mean that we agree with each other. If you have two people in a room that agree on everything, you only need one of them. And so collaboration is a foundational principle, and we have to consciously make sure that we are getting the best out of everybody in the organization. And that's how we'll achieve our objectives together. So I mentioned at the outset that if we were to put down on a single piece of paper who we are and why we exist and what we're seeking to become, it would look like this. It would outline our mission, which we talked about. It would outline how that mission is fulfilled by working to achieve our vision, and then having our core values govern our behavior. And that is the formula that we believe is for success. And has seen us as a company through a number of challenges. And we know that there will be challenges ahead. We know that there's people that are in need right now. And we know that we have something special here. And it's something that you can look to, I think, in times like now and say, well, in a world of a lot of things I can't count on, I can always count on ASEA. And we would certainly hope that you feel that way. I'd like to just thank Karen again for the opportunity and the invitation of being with you tonight. Please be safe. Every day we get updates from around the world as to the impact that this situation is having on our associates, and we care deeply about you and how you're doing and your families. And first and foremost, we just ask that you take care of yourselves right now, physically and emotionally, because I think we would be naive to assume that this is not exacting an emotional toll on people as well. And we need to be sensitive to that. So again, thank you very much. That concludes our discussion for tonight. Appreciate all you do, who you are. And Karen, again, thank you so much for arranging this and for the invitation. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thanks, Chuck.